Hey guys, how you doing? Coach Mitch here. Mike, I see you. Nice job on your BP interview. You're right that you're going to go on. Nice job. Sim, nice job for you too as well, buddy. Good job on your BP interview, so you get to go on too as well. It's a great feeling to do this stuff all day long, you guys. Let's get right down to the CBPO panel. So I get a lot of questions all the time about the CBPO panel and the interview, of course, right? So let's go through my top five that I hear a lot about this panel. For the first one is, why are they not friendly to me like a civilian interview? Why don't they smile or seem more warm? Well, you got to remember where you are, right? Remember who you're talking to, correct? It's a federal level paramilitary interview panel. They're not friendly to you on purpose. It's part of the psyche of the whole interview to keep you on your toes and keep you off guard a little bit. That's what it's all about. To see how far off guard you will be when they're asking you questions in a non-friendly demeanor. Now you gotta look at that in real life. That's gonna translate over perfectly to real life because not everybody you meet as a traveler is gonna be happy to see you, right? Same thing here. Number two is, can they ask their own questions? So the question they really mean, outside of the structured interview questions, can they ask their own questions of me? No, they cannot. It's called a structured interview for a reason. So they can only ask the questions on the structured interview form. They cannot freelance. The reason why is because the structured interview is designed to be fair for everybody, right? So if I'm asking guy A a certain question, then guy B a certain question, then guy C a certain question, and they're all different questions, well, how do you fairly relate to each one? How do you know who really wins this contest from asking each person different questions? Not very fair, right? This is why they cannot ask you their own questions, because then it would no longer be fair, right? It become a partial type interview, which we don't want. Another thing too is, can they ask me where I work right now or if I have any college education? No, they're not going to ask you where you work. They have no interest. College education, they don't care about that either. They don't care about that because it's an interview phase. That has zero relevance in an interview because what I found over the years, your college education does not reflect whether you can pass this interview or not. That's just common knowledge, I too, when I first started my program many years ago, I have a master's degree. I had to learn how to say certain things and learn certain ways, So I'm also ex-law enforcement too. So no, it won't help you at all in the interview at all. It's going to help you and as far as getting your ranking, right? GS7, GS9, GS5, whatever it is. If you have a degree, they start you out GS7 or GS9 usually, but they don't care about the degree part in the interview. They're not going to ask you at all, okay? Because they don't even have your application there. That's how much they don't care, right? Another one too, can they disqualify me on the spot? Well, there are some extreme cases, right? If they catch someone cheating on the interview, yes, it does happen. I know 3 stories already that happened before in the past 6, 7 years. If they catch you cheating, they will immediately stop the interview. They'll have you get contacted by CBP through another party, but they will stop the interview, and I'm sure you're going to be in some big trouble there as far as your career is concerned, okay? When you do stuff like that, they're not going to call you back ever because, remember, the biggest thing here for CBP is what? Integrity. You got to show integrity. So if you do that, there's no way. So when I get done with the interview, will they tell me if I'm hired or not? No, they're not going to tell you if you're hired or not, right? It takes a couple of days because they got to compare you to who? Your competition, right? So that's a big deal. Let's get into the Border Patrol interview panel, all right? Similar questions, let's get right down to it. So will the Border Patrol people ask me about my prior experience in Border Patrol if I have any? Nope, they won't care. Remember, they're coming at you from a structured interview point of view. They have to follow the guidelines there as well. Is the Border Patrol panel, do they care if I'm looking around, not looking at the camera? Yes, if you do it enough times, they're going to see that as being weak. They're going to have a problem with that if you keep doing that. They're looking for you to look at them either on the screen, in the camera there, or on the screen like I do all the time. But they want to make sure they have your rapt attention. Does the Border Patrol interview deal with life and death? Yes, it does. You're going to have a few questions in there, one for sure, that is going to deal with that, for sure. You're going to have to understand how that question is to be answered, the steps that it takes, and what you need to say, or you will not pass the interview. I cannot make that more clear. This is not a civilian interview. The BP interview has a life and death situation in there. It's done that way on purpose to see how you relate to it and see how you react. I keep saying there's no correlation at all between the civilian interview and especially the Border Patrol interview. Not at all. Will the Border Patrol interview panel sometimes laugh at me or make me feel kind of small? Yes, they do that. They do that sometimes. The reason why, again, is to test you now while you're in your civilian phase, right? They're always going to be testing you, but especially at the structured interview, because they're trying to see at that phase already, will you be a good fit for Border Patrol? That's what they're doing to you on purpose. Last thing here. Will the Border Patrol panel ask me to verify who I am through my ID? Yes, they will. At the beginning, you're going to be told to show your ID because they want to verify you are who you actually say you are. Okay? That's the deal. So there's for CBP, guys, and also for Border Patrol. Those are questions I get all the time. If you guys have questions, Mitch J Education Hub at gmail.com. And I'm happy you guys are here in the community. Take care. Bye-bye.